define that, okay, there's the ability to think cognitively, problem solving, and all of these things, then we tell that, okay, the person is intellectual, and this is precisely we call as intellect.
Okay. So when a person is really dealing good in day-to-day things, you are saying that we call it intellect, right?
Yes.
Okay. So intellectual ability. What does it mean, intellectual ability?
See, ability is nothing but, your potential to go ahead with a particular phenomena or to go ahead with a particular skill, whether this with respect to the social surrounding, whether the skill is with respect to your own self, right? Because whenever we are talking about intellectual ability, right, we are not focusing upon to keep if I am able to solve my day-to-day problem or not, that is only limited to my own self, that is my own intrapersonal thing. But yes, I'm also going to focus upon to my social environment, my interpersonal relationships, and all of these things. So when I'm going to go ahead with all of these things in an effectful manner, then we call I have this intellectual ability. So ability is something as a skill, or that you have that potential to go ahead with all of these things.
Okay. And when we talk about disability, intellectual disability, so it means we are not able to deal effectively with day-to-day tasks.
Yes, not only with day-to-day tasks, the person would also be facing challenges with respect to social environment. So the communication may be hampered, or let's say the social relationships may be hampered, interpersonal relationships may be hampered, including activities of daily living, and so on and so forth.
Okay. So intellectual disabilities, how common it is, like how we can identify, or what kind of intellectual disabilities are there? Is there any kind of types of intellectual disability?
Yes, we categorize intellectual disabilities if I go ahead with the prevalence. So there are around 10 million cases per year, right? Which, yes, so that is the prevalence if we go ahead. And yes, if we categorize that into four basic categories, they are profound intellectual impairment. Now it is intellectual impairment and not as disability, because considering disability as a negative connotated word, so we go ahead by calling it as intellectual impairment. So there is profound, then there is severe, then moderate, and mild, and after mild there is borderline. Then we call it, okay, below average intelligence, above average intelligence, superior, gifted, and so on. So yes, there are basic four criteria onto which we are going to decide, okay, whether the person is having profound, is having severe intellectual impairment, or the above two.
Okay. So you're saying that IQ thing?
Yes.
Intelligent quotient, right? So yes. This is whenever any psychologist is identifying or going through the IQ test, right? So what is the normal IQ test, and what is below IQ test, and what are the symptoms, and what is the difference between having the normal IQ and below IQ and above IQ, above average?
If it is near around 90s, right, then we call that, okay, IQ is okay.
Around 90,
above 110 or so, we call that it is above average intelligence question. Above average doesn't mean that it is, in layman term, what we call as average hai, above average. Average is not that, it is below something, right? Average IQ, it is a good one, right? In layman term, if I talk about. So above average is more than that good. Then there is superior, gifted. But if we talk about intellectual impairment, we say that if the IQ is below 70, there would be a challenge. Then we categorize that the person may be having few challenges, not only with respect to day-to-day life, but also with respect to education, with respect to occupation, with respect to relationships, and so on.
Okay. If when IQ is below 70, so 70 to 90, it is average?
No. See, below 70 would be the categories of mild, moderate, severe, and profound. That IQ has been classified on the basis of that, okay, whether there is an intellectual disability, then we'll classify it under four categories.
Okay.
Profound, below 20. If it is in between 20 to 35, we call it severe. If it is 35 to 50, we call it is moderate. If it is 50 to 65 or 70 type, right? We call it that there is mild intellectual impairment. If it is 70 to 85 to 82, or within that range, we call that it is borderline intellectual functioning, right?
Okay.
And there would be, then after that there would be below average intellectual functioning. Now we are not calling it as intellectual impairment, intellectual functioning, right? Because the categories are increasing now on the basis of IQ, and now above borderline the person is able to do a lot of things. As we say that a person who is having borderline intellectual functioning would be able to go until 12th standard. With easy subjects that are fine arts or arts kind of subjects, he can study till 12th standard. But if we talk about severe or if we talk about profound, then we cannot say that the person will go till 12th standard. So, difference. So the lower we are going, major deterioration would be there. On the upper, higher IQ levels above 70, the challenges would be few.
Okay. So are you saying when this IQ is above than 90, it is better?
Yes.
It is better.
It is better.
Okay. But I have heard that there are a lot of people, a lot of scientists, right, who has some intellectual disabilities, and they are the genius people, right? Like Albert Einstein. So how this IQ role is playing being a genius or the scientist?
See, his IQ was more than 140.
More than 140.
More than, above that.
Right.
So we cannot say that he was having intellectual disability.
Okay.
He has few special abilities. So see, disability and special ability, they both are
different things. Okay.
Right? I might be having learning disability, but because I have learning disability, that doesn't mean my IQ would always be, below 70, or I would always be facing challenges with respect to my intellectual question. It's not mandatory, right? Hence, let's say the person is having below 70s IQ. So what other comorbidities, right? So what other comorbidities are there? Example, is there autism side by side, which is ongoing? Is there ADHD? With ADHD also, you'll find children with IQ above 120. Though we consider them that, okay, there is some issue with the IQ, but it is not there. There are children whose IQ will be below 70 also. So again, it depends. What is the comorbidity alongside? Albert Einstein was not intellectually, disabled person. He was having really good IQ.
Okay. So genius,
yes,
above average.
Yes.
Excellent IQ.
You can say that.
Okay. So, what is the maximum IQ that people generally have? Like, okay, Einstein had 140. So
no, above 140. He was having above 140.
Above 140. So till when? Like till 200 or 180? Till when?
On an average, if I talk about, then I must say that, normal people, normal population ka jo IQ hota hai, it is lying near about around 110 to 120. It is near about around that is above average classification. So majority of the population lies under above average this thing.
Okay.
Average.
Under above average.
Yes.
ठीक है. तो अगर किसी का IQ ज्यादा है, ठीक है, above average is normal, क्योंकि ज्यादातर लोग इसी कैटेगरी में फॉल करते हैं. एवरेज इज नॉर्मल. ठीक है. तो अगर IQ ज्यादा हो जाता है, ठीक है, तो कौन सी स्पेशल एबिलिटी, क्या डिफरेंस आता है? ठीक है, वी गॉट द पार्ट ऑफ डिसेबिलिटी. ठीक है, अगर IQ नीचे है तो डिसेबिलिटी मतलब आपको सीखने में बहुत सारी दिक्कतें आएंगी. अगर IQ ज्यादा है तो व्हाट स्पेशल कम्स अप इन अ पर्सन?
Okay, let me share an experience of mine.
Yes, please.
Students here, they really have good IQ. Above 20. That is why they are here, no? They are here. What challenges they face? If I could summarize that, see, you are highly intellectual. If you are highly individual, understanding the day-to-day task, right,
Hmm.
be a little bit difficult in the sense. So if I am trying to explain you things in a laymanish language, right?
Yes, yes, please.
Challenge each and everything of theirs, right? Because they are so much practically, focusing upon to each and everything, right? Focus is not more on theoretical basis, it is more on practical this thing. But life doesn't exist merely onto practical domains, right? And you will find that people who are having really good IQ, they face issues with respect to existence, and we call it as that, okay, they might be having issues with respect to existential crisis, right? Because if a person is there with high IQ and the environment is there of below average or of average, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we talked about that people generally have above average.
Above average.
But
Yes.
if the person is of gifted, the person is of superior category. So again, he'll face challenge. Again, he'll face that, okay, my environment is not that competitive as I am. So what will happen? The person would face competition related issues in a manner he would not be able to progress better, right? Because the group, the norm with which we are comparing him is not of his own age, right?
Right.
So could be issues with respect to that. So they need a really competitive environment to, every time to prove themselves, and, every time, so that they can strive for more and more knowledge, right? So that's a big issue you'll find with people who have really good intellectual,
Okay. So this is the issue with the gifted people. Like it is very difficult for them to cope up, to adjust with the environment, because उनका IQ ज़्यादा है, उनकी understanding ज़्यादा अच्छी है. They understand things easily.
No, yeah, it is that also, but yes, they understand it in a different fashion, in a more practical way, and the environment around themselves, the environment per se is not of to that category in the category which they are falling into, right? Example, falling into category of above 130, above 120, but the environment in which they are right now is of 100, 110. You're getting my point? So there is a difference of plus 20 in between, right? So people around me, I am considering that they are not competitive as much as I am. So I am not able to progress into my life. Again, if I am not able to progress into my life, then what is my existence? I'm not able to get fruitful result. I'm not able to utilize my potential. So these are some of the existential always have into their mind.
Okay. So now I want to understand कि ठीक है, above average is normal, above average सबका IQ होना चाहिए, because उसमें फिर ज्यादा क्राइसिस या एडजस्ट करने के लिए एफर्ट नहीं लगाने पड़ते किसी भी इंसान को. हाँ, अगर आपका IQ कम है या फिर ज्यादा है, एक्सीलेंट है, तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम है. So now I want to understand how to fix, how to deal with those kind of people. Like what you being a psychologist, how you make them comfortable with the environment.
See, first of all, the foremost and the major step which we go ahead is of psychoeducation, because the IQ is higher or no matter the IQ is pretty low, it is really important to make the other person understand that even if the child or the student or the person or an individual is having low IQ, right, that doesn't give you an opportunity to demean that person, right? And that is the reason the government modified it in not in the form of disability, but yes, as a form of impairment. So the first and foremost thing is to psychoeducate the family and the caregivers of the person, because now again the discrepancy is there. Now of high IQ and the person is of low. So again, discrepancy is there. Now they don't know how to deal with it. Right. So example, if the child is of profound intellectual impairment. So with a profound intellectual impairment, he would not be able to, let's say, even defecate by himself, even go to the, use the toilet by himself, right? So you need to cater these issues to a very basic level. You need to confront the parents, the caregivers that, okay, this is the present condition of the child, right? And your constant support is only going to foster the emotional health of the child, because there could be instances the child cannot even recognize the parents also. The child has profound intellectual impairment. But as we go higher, let's person is of moderate intellectual impairment. So with moderate intellectual impairment, we can put that child into recreational activities or occupational activities in the form of, let's say, with moderate and mild, you can help the child to go into candle making, some handicraft industry, and all of these things where he can earn his living and is not dependent on to other people basically. And yes, if there are other, comorbidities, example, with moderate and mild, there are few emotional and behavioral disturbances are usually seen. They generally become stubborn, right? So there could be associated repetitive actions, echolalia, echopraxia associated. So yes, then we again go in that way. If there is speech related issue, then there are oromotor exercises. If muscle dystrophy or that kind of related issue, then they are occupational therapists. But yes, our foremost aim in intellectual disability, see, there is no medicine which is going to improve your IQ. Let me make it clear. People go from one person to another seeking that, okay, कि मेरे बच्चे का IQ. That's not possible, right?
बढ़ाना possible नहीं है.
Possible. You can furnish the person with the help of skills, right? If my IQ today is 60, I take some medicine and, by thinking that, okay, tomorrow it would be around 150 or tomorrow it would be around 120. No, if I'm doing it 60, after few years, after 2 years or so, with practice, with continuous practice, it could be 65. It could be 70, not more than that. There would not be a drastic difference, right? And that would also be there because you train the child,
right,
that person into basic skills, basic
right.
Because as I already told you, IQ is not only limited to your cognitive ability, but how you are adapting to things. So it is just a cumulative this thing, right? Intellectual, adaptive, social, and all of these things. Going to get an IQ.
Okay, so IQ को बढ़ाया नहीं जा सकता है, but IQ क्योंकि इन्वायरमेंट के साथ ट्रेनिंग करके चीजों को अलग तरीके से उनके साथ जोड़ के, उनके IQ के साथ जोड़ के उसको थोड़ा सा इंक्रीज किया जा सकता है.
Yes.
Because now they are working fine with those things. That's why हम कहेंगे कि थोड़ा IQ बढ़ गया है.
Yes, and that can also be done. That can, I'll not say only, but that can be done to those who are below 15 years of age or below 16 years of age.
Okay.
It can be done. This increment could be children, right? With adults, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, it would be really difficult because the brain development has already happened, no? That is the reason.
15 साल से नीचे, we can do that. We can work with the children.
That is why we say that intellectual impairment का जो assessment होता है, it should be done after 2 or 3 years if the child is below 15 or below 16. Because there are chances that it can improve a little.
Right, right. अगर किसी को लगता है कि उनका बच्चा थोड़ा सा स्लो है, right? अगर नॉर्मली किसी को पहचानना है या फिर ज्यादा तेज है, तो उनको ये टेस्ट IQ टेस्ट कराना चाहिए, राइट?
अगर ज्यादा तेज है तो आप उसकी उन एबिलिटीज को फर्निश करिए, आप उसके हिसाब से उसको पढ़ाई करवाएं, आप उसकी एबिलिटीज के हिसाब से उसकी एक्टिविटीज कराएं. बिकॉज इफ योर चाइल्ड इज प्रीटी ब्राइट, राइट, तो आप उसकी स्किल को फर्निश इसलिए नहीं करना चाह रहे हैं बिकॉज द एनवायरमेंट हियर इज ऑफ एवरेज IQ, सो दैट इज प्रीटी अनफेयर विद दैट चाइल्ड ओनली. Child is having a superior IQ, go ahead by furnishing those skills.
Right. So IQ का connection learning ability और disability से भी है, right? तो learning disabilities होती हैं, पढ़ने में
not
problems
really.
होती हैं.
No, not really, because learning disability again is a comorbidity. It can be there, it cannot be there.
Okay.
With learning disability would be intellectually impaired? No. Again, can or cannot.
तो IQ के साथ कोई खास कनेक्शन नहीं है लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी का?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. अगर किसी को डिसलेक्सिया है, ये नहीं है कि वो इंटेलेक्चुअली इम्पेयर्ड भी होगा. बट यस, यू विल डू इंटेलेक्चुअल क्वेश्चन से रिलेटेड आप टेस्ट जरूर करेंगे, सो एज टू मेक योरसेल्फ क्लियर इन योर माइंड कि ओके दैट इज देयर बिकॉज ऑफ दिस। बिकॉज कोमॉर्बिडिटी तो बिहेवियरल भी हो सकती है, लर्निंग डिसेबिलिटी भी हो सकती है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, वो तो एडीएचडी भी हो सकता है। It is not confirmed or it is not mandatory that if a person is having LD or learning disability or if a person is having intellectual impairment तो LD होगा, या LD है तो intellectual impairment होगा. No, it is not mandatory.
वो रिहेबिलिटेशन की चीजें अलग ही हो जाती हैं.
हाँ,
ठीक है. तो ये तो था कि हाउ यू डील विद द low IQ people, right? Now, what are the ways to deal with the high IQ people?
see, as I already told you, if a person is there with high IQ, you really need to first to do the assessment of that person. Then you need to find out that what are the special abilities the person is having. It could be that the person has abilities with respect to, let's say, he is more good with machines, he is more good with arithmetic, so try to make that child or to go ahead with him, let's say with coding this thing. Or if the child is there, you'll find the children with pretty high IQ are more there with gaming and all of these things. So again, if a child is there into gaming and you think, because it has been seen that there is a correlation with certain things and researchers have also told that. So is there, then how you can mold that with that, how you can develop games, right? So go into that development field, go into that research field, right? So making their approach a little bit of scientific if you think that they have really good IQ, right? So you can just provide them a little bit of supporting hand so that they can furnish their skills and they can go ahead with such courses and all of these things. Because nowadays various prospects are coming, right? If the person is having really good IQ, he can obviously go ahead with different technological prospects, all of these things. But yes, not only limited to this. A person might be good IQ and a person might be good at writing.
Right.
तो
एक वो स्पेशल एबिलिटी होगी जिसे पहचानने की जरूरत है. हाई
वो
IQ
तो हम में सब में ही होती है, बट यस वो तो सब में ही होती है. Find these special abilities in those who are intellectually impaired also, right? Example, those who are suffering from autism, right? Or it has been seen, that people with autism and people with this kind of disorder, they generally have this low IQ, but they have really good ability to remember dates, so things related with calendar, so they have really good ability. So again, that ability is also a special ability.
Right.
I ask you that, okay, tell me in 2011, what was this date onto that day? You will take some time, you will do some mathematical calculation to go ahead with that. They have this ability. So within all of us, the only thing is right worship, right assessment, right special ability test, right intellectual impairment, intellectual ability test, and then supportive psychotherapy or supportive counseling.
Okay. तो वो स्पेशल एबिलिटी हो भी सकती है, ऑब्वियसली जनरली ऐसे जैसे आपने कहा कि सब में होती है.
Yes.
It is there in everybody. So definitely the people who is having the higher IQ, they will also be having that special ability.
Yes.
So we need to identify it. We need to see that where it is, in which area it is. But one thing is for sure, that people who is having high IQ, yes, they have, better things of doing anything or understanding anything, or, practicality is more in that area.
The drawback is also there. If I say drawback is that many a times it has been seen that the comorbidity of emotional or mood disorders is there with them, because they really disheartened with the environment when their skills are not utilized in a proper manner.
Right.
Yeah, that is also a challenge.
Okay. So what do you do? Like, for example, right now you're working in IIT Jammu, right? So you may have found some cases, some students who are having really high IQ, right? There in this age, now this age is above 15, right? So what will be your mode of treating that person? How you gonna manage that person?
See, majority of the students, or the majority of the population which has come to me and which I have seen, they generally have questions related to existential this thing. Then we go ahead with cognitive behavior therapy to approach that, psychotherapy to approach that. If then majority of the time these students, right, these students have little bit of difficulty in going ahead or managing, because yeah, this is an adolescent age, right? They just have crossed their adolescent age and they are there into their early adulthood,
Right.
they are there into early adulthood. So issues related to, not related to academics would be there, right? Even if I'm talking about PhDs and MTechs, then I can agree that there are academic issues, but students who are there with lower this thing, that is UGs, right? So issues are not with respect to academics, right? But they are there with respect to existential this thing, right? That I am not, there would be few students who will say that, okay, we are not able to go ahead or cope up with the environment because we feel that, the test and the assessments which are there, right? We can do it in this much of time, but I don't understand why the other people take so much of time. It should be pretty hard. It should be, pretty difficult. It is so easy for me, right? So easy for my ability, right? So these kind of challenges are you able to understand? See, I know my ability is 10 out of 10, right? But the test is of the average ability because other people are also there, right? So it should be, it is basically, done in order by keeping in respect to what other people are there on every basis करते हैं कोई भी टेस्ट जब हम डेवलप करते हैं. So वो एक ये होता है कि okay, I am able to do, or for me the difficulty level is, let's say, 5 out of 10. It should be 10 out of 10 so that I can challenge my ability. So that challenge is lacking. So जब वो challenge होता है, then I generally recommend that okay, according to you, if the challenge is lacking, so this is generally the question I do ask them, that according to you, if the challenge is lacking, then if you could tell me that okay, in which thing, or in what kind of activities you think that you would be able to challenge yourself in a really hard manner. So they that with coding,
right,
develop something, right? So then we generally, appreciate, generally we push the person to go ahead with different coding courses and other kind of these things. Let's say they go ahead with different kind of internships, right? You may skill set development, you may go ahead with nuclear power, you may go ahead with other kind of these things. So yes, furnishing their abilities and to make them aware of the different prospects that they can go into.
Okay, so majorly you add on the challenges, which the part which is missing in their life.
Yes.
Sounds good. So till now we have talked about the intellectual disability, intellectual ability. We have talked about the lower IQ, higher IQ, and what are the possible challenges and how to deal with those challenges, and how psychologists are approaching those IQ challenges with people, and how they're helping to people. So this is really amazing, insightful from your end, Himanshi.
Thank you so much.
So now I have a rapid fire round for you, which is, I will tell you a word. You need to tell your word related to that. What do you understand by that? Okay. It's simple. Like, first word is mental health.
Should be catered.
Should be catered. Great. Country.
Pride.
Pride. World.
What?
World.
Me first.
Psychologist.
Should be able to cater people in a better manner.
Okay. Parents.
Not idealistic every time.
Okay. Nice. Politics.
Diplomatic.
Okay. Spirituality.
Healing.
Great. Knowledge.
Ocean. Grab as much as you can.
Ocean. Life.
Joy.
Intelligence. Ability.
Yes. I didn't
Okay.
wanted to tell the same meaning actually. I kept
Okay.
thinking.
Okay, so intelligence.
Thinking ability.
Okay.
We do so.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Himanshi. It was a nice conversation with you. Thank you so much sharing your thoughts. And thank you everyone who has joined this talk show. I hope you got something from this conversation, and I hope you enjoy and it was a learning for you. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Himanshi. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so